Everyone can hear me okay? Quick thumbs up. All right, awesome. So thanks everyone for joining. My name is Saul. I'm the account executive here at Groundswell Solutions. Today we'll be going through a little bit of a webinar about an Experience Cloud project that we worked on with Slack, the company. Before I introduce our speakers and cover the agenda, just some housekeeping items. If you have any questions, we are monitoring the chat. So we encourage you to ask questions in the chat. We'll try and get some quick answers, but for the larger questions, we do have some time carved out at the end of the webinar, and we can surface them in a Q&A. So in terms of the speakers today, I'll let each speaker introduce themselves in more detail when they do come up, but you'll be hearing from three individuals: Elizabeth Kinsey, Imran Chatur, and Matt Erickson. Elizabeth is from Slack. She's the group manager of community. Imran is the chief revenue officer at Groundswell Solutions, and Matt is a lead solution engineer at Salesforce. In regards to the agenda today, we will be covering a number of topics, so I just wanted to set the stage with a quick overview. So Elizabeth will cover what Slack was looking for when they were evaluating Experience Cloud, why they chose Experience Cloud as a tool, and why this project was so unique. Additionally, she'll walk through the final product that went live, the experience that Slack had working with Groundswell, and some learnings and advice for those of you that are either evaluating Experience Cloud or wanting to get more out of the product. Imran will give a brief overview of Groundswell as a company and talk about some of the markets that we focus on, our expertise, and some of the customers that we work with as well. Additionally, we'll cover our journey with Slack that started from 2018 to today and provide some insight into how we approach projects and think about Salesforce as a platform. And last but not least, we'll hear from Matt. So Matt will talk a little bit about the roadmap for Experience Cloud as a product. And for those of you that are currently evaluating Experience Cloud or wanting to get more out of it, he'll talk a little bit about some additional support options that you have that complement an implementation partner. And then we'll finish off with a Q&A. Before I give it over to Elizabeth for a quick intro, we do have a polling question here that popped up. So I'll give you guys a quick minute to answer. Just make sure you're in the right place. All right, awesome. Looks like most of you want to know the value of Experience Cloud and how to get started. Perfect. All right, so without further ado, I'll go give it over to Elizabeth to do a quick intro and kick it off.
Thanks so much, Saul. Hi, everybody. I'm Elizabeth Kinsey. My pronouns are she, her, and I run community programs at Slack. We have been building community at Slack for a little over 3 years, and I'll tell you a little bit about that community. You can go to the next slide, Saul. So we have 3 different programs right now. Our community is comprised of folks who are building on Slack, either as developers or using our low-code tools, admins who are responsible for Slack within their organization, and then end users. So we have a pretty broad base of folks who have a wide variety of interests. Within the programs, we have, for about the last 3 years, run user groups. So those are all volunteer-driven. Folks who are enthusiastic about Slack get together. They host currently virtual, but used to be in person, and someday will again, meetups about Slack and related topics. So anything from using our APIs all the way down to what does remote work look like in a new world of distributed HQs. Along with that, we always had our community workspace. And so this was a place where folks from user groups could congregate, have conversations, ask each other's questions. And it's really great for a lot of things. But there were a few things that were missing out of a traditional forum experience that we wanted to bring into our community. And that led us to our recently released Slack Community Forum, which I'll be talking about today, in the companion app. And so this was a new online space where anyone could go to ask questions, share their ideas, and swap stories. Next slide. So when we thought about what we wanted to do with community and building a digital forum, this was something that we gave a lot of thought. We did a lot of investigating around what solution would be the right for us. But ultimately, we really wanted our customers to be able to connect with each other. One of the most powerful ways for people to grow in product usage and understanding of the platform is to see how others are customizing Slack and solving their day-to-day work problems so that work is simpler, more productive, and a little bit easier. So we wanted to be able to have a space that was open and accessible, that could be viewed in a logged in or a logged out experience, that was discoverable through SEO and through different types of searches and search engines. And we really wanted to be able to gamify some of that experience so that we could use badges and levels to reward and incentivize people to participate. Another important aspect was connecting the community activity with business impact, things like product adoption and deepened usage. And we really needed something that could be integrated with our existing data stack. It was also really important to have a Slack app. We are Slack. And so if we went to our community and we said, hey, there's no Slack integration, they would probably look at us like we had lost our marbles. And so that was a very critical part of being able to build this platform out. It needed to be something that would meet users where they were if they were in Slack, or could be discovered if they were brand new. There were definitely some challenges around that. One was accessing that data and making sure that it was available both from the business needs side and also for the user experience side. We also really needed to be able to scale. And so we needed to build something that could start off small, but become much bigger. We needed to localize. We have 12 different languages that Slack can be used in, and we needed to at least start the process there of including all of our global friends who could be able to use the tool in the language of their choice. We focused on Japanese to begin with. We also needed to be able to report on things, what that engagement level was, community health, scale, growing, who are the most active members, who can we identify as champions of Slack. And then we needed to connect that all within our systems. And we have some, technical architecture already in place with Salesforce that we needed to be able to plug into easily and not have to cause a disruption for, say, our sales team or our marketing team, because we needed to get some kind of data. So it was really important that all of those tools in that stack were going to work well together. What we found was Experience Cloud. So the customer portal could be integrated with Slack. We could have a login or a logged out experience, and is really something that we needed to build that foundation to iterate on future versions. So the community as it is now was our MVP. Those were the things that we really needed to get out there. And then we're able to pull things from the App Exchange, continue to work with Groundswell to develop a new iterations of the community as our community grows and our needs change and evolve. The out-of-the-box dashboards and reports made it super easy to be able to start measuring data. And because we were already familiar with how Salesforce reporting worked, it just made it a very simple transition to start being able to use those tools. And then again, importantly, that Slack app, focusing on those end users rather than on admins, and making that experience for them more pleasurable and easier, and meeting them where they were. If we can go to the next slide. So one of the reasons that this was a super unique project was we needed to build a solution that would let moderators do a lot of different things, have a lot of security in place around moderation, be able to have different types of moderators. So we have system admins, and then we have community moderators. Down the road, we want to be able to empower and enable community users who are power users and trusted to be able to act as moderators as well. And so we were able to build a solution that allowed those roles to exist. The implementation with the out-of-the-box features for collaboration and recognition, as I mentioned, we really wanted to be able to bring some gamification into the experience, and the out-of-the-box features for badges, for being able to both award them automatically in regards to things that people did and activities that they took, and then also have ways that we could surprise and delight folks in rewarding them badges for things that we noticed. The importance of launching in Japanese and English can't be overstated. We work with a lot of developers in many ways, and engineers. English tends to be the language of developing. except in places where English is not spoken at all. So across EMEA, we could say, okay, folks in Germany, they tend to be able to come and they'll be able to use this in English. Folks in Japan were not. And we have a huge contingent of customers in Japan. And so it was really important that we paid attention to those existing community members and that existing activity and made it accessible in the language of their choice. And so this was a huge cross-functional effort between both of our teams. And now, it's 25% of the traffic to our site is in Japanese. Or comes from Japan. So knowing that we had that there for our customers was super important. The other thing that I think, again, I can't emphasize enough the community Slack app that Groundswell built with us to interact with the forum via Slack. So this is a way that people can get notifications about activities. They can search the community, whether they're logged in or logged out, directly from Slack. And it really showcases the power of Slack as a platform. And so it was kind of a double win. We both get to create something for our customers and our community that is really impactful for them, but it also helps to showcase how Slack can be used as this lightweight intermediary fabric between all of the different types of tools that you use. And then we launched our community at Slack Frontiers. Slack Frontiers is our annual flagship conference. We deployed to a large number of users. We had a ton of traffic coming in over the Frontiers conference days and did heavy promotion. This was really our launch into general availability. We did a soft launch before that. Within that GA launch, we got up to 1,200 users. It continues to grow after the fact. Some things that were really notable with our founders beta, which was our soft launch, we reached double the goal of our membership for that founders beta. And part of that was because people were joining and they were having such a good experience and finding what they needed that they were inviting others as well. A month into GA, we're already at nearly 9% of our users are monthly active users. The benchmark for the industry is roughly around 10. And so usually it takes a couple months, 3 to 6 months to get to that point so that you've created regular habits. Because of the way that the experience works and also because of the Slack app, I believe we've been able to really keep people active and engaged in the community and has gotten us to that number, which we're really excited about. Let me go to the next slide. So let's talk a little bit about the implementation. So we really wanted to be able to make sure that this was something that would make a difference to our community and would have a lot of impact on the business. So the first thing that we needed to do was really plan. We held internal workshops to make sure that we were aligned on business goals, that we were aligned on objectives. We knew what did we want to measure in terms of success in the beginning and what are things that we want to start benchmarking. We sent out surveys within our existing community to find out what mattered most to them. What were they looking for out of this type of a program? And then we worked with a cross-functional Tiger team, folks from all across the business. We had folks from our Salesforce architecture side. We had folks from our DevRel side working on helping and supporting on questions around the Slack app. We had folks from our marketing team, our brand team. It was definitely a cross-functional effort, but lots of big rewards. I will say that working with Groundswell made this so much better and easier than it could have been. When we met with them the very first time, they started scoping the project, had great questions, were able to really help us kind of hone down what it is that we needed out of this first version and scope the project well. Whenever we ran into roadblocks, everything was super well documented. They always came up with a variety of solutions for us to choose from based on what we thought was going to be best for our project. And I'm not a technical person. I have like this much technical knowledge, but one of the great things about working with them was some of these very lofty technical aspects that were, very involved. They made it super easy to understand for me. And that was something that I really look for in a partner when we're building something that is highly technical. Help me understand it in words that are not jargon. And so I can't say enough nice things about the team. They're also just lovely, lovely humans. My advice to you, anyone who is looking to do this kind of project and looking to implement Experience Cloud for your customers, find a great partner. Find a partner who has deep expertise and can bring your vision to life. That was a key element in being able to take what we had on paper to what we have today. Be really clear on the objections and the deliverables. We started with a huge scope. Here are the millions of things that we want to do. It's not possible to do that all at once. So figuring out what are the buckets of work that we want to do and the stages that we want to bring this community along in. And then build for scale. Our community started small, it is growing rapidly. That tends to happen when you do a good job around what you've built, how people are interacting with it. And so we know that this is going to be something that we can continue to build on. We've put a really good foundation down, and we're going to be able to bring it along in different iterations as our community grows and shifts. So I'll walk you through a little bit of what the community looks like now. So there are two main ways that folks can interact when they first land in the community. So they can go into topics. So we have 10 main navigational topics that we spent some time looking at support tickets, looking at conversations with our customer success team, and getting input from the community around the things that are kind of the highest level buckets. So folks can navigate into those topics and ask questions. And then there's also groups. So the groups are really where folks can find other people that are similar to them. We started out with a limited number of groups and have been building as we figure out who is engaging in the community, and then creating a group for them. And then eventually we'll move to the point where we allow other folks to create groups, but we really want to do things thoughtfully and meaningfully. If we go to the next slide, you can see this is what on a topic page, what a discussion looks like. So you're able to see all of the questions within that topic. You can see how many people have viewed the topic, how many people have answered it, and how many people have upvoted it. You can shift the topic list either from latest posts, so you can change the feed around a little bit. And then if we go to the next slide, you can also follow the topic. And so by following the topic, you're able to get weekly digests around conversations that are happening within that topic. And it gets connected to your Slack app preferences, so that you're able to fetch the 10 most recent topics, which we'll show here in a second. The other thing about topics, so when you get to see all of this activity that is happening within these topics and within these questions, it's really a powerful thing for social proof, because the customers themselves see other customers are struggling with similar issues or have great responses. One of the great things about the out-of-the-box features are that you can select best answers. So whether you're the person who is asking the question and someone has answered it, and you're like, this is the right thing, this is the information I needed, you can mark that as best answer. We also, as the company, have the ability to mark it as verified. So there have been instances where people have asked questions that are technical product questions, and we're able to say, yes, that is the right answer. And it's a really powerful tool. Go to the next slide. So when you do click into a question, you can reply with an answer, you can see those other answers. And one great thing is that you can see related questions. There's a lot of AI that also happens behind the scenes that helps to suggest topics and that helps to suggest maybe this is a question that has already been asked before. And so seeing those related questions helps to keep people on the site, helps them to continue to click through and spend time looking at some of those answers. And it's, again, another really powerful feature. And asking a question is super easy. You can start a discussion from the home page or from the topic page, as long as you're logged in. You can choose the topic that you want to post to it, any additional details. You can use WYSIWYG formatting on the message. You can add images, and you can do a lot of things to help kind of convey your point and get the information that you need out of that. Groups, as I mentioned, work really similarly to the topics in that you can ask and answer questions, but they have a couple of additional features that come in really handy. So one is the polls. So we, as the group owners, can run polls, asking people for information. It's great for engagement. It's great to collect data points. And then we also can make announcements. So for things like Slack Frontiers, we can go into the group that we have everyone in and give them the information. Hey, here's a new speaker. Here's a session you don't want to miss. And you can also expire those announcements. So one of the things that we had a challenge with was that there would be old or outdated information, and being able to expire an announcement is really useful to make sure that everything is up to date. The other piece that was important for us is recognition and rewards. So these are all of the different badges that folks can earn right now within the community. And all of the badges kind of relate back to our community values. So we were able to get kind of playful and fun with some of the things that we were doing. Every time that someone does an action, they earn reputation points, and then they can actually move up into different levels. So the more activity that you do, the more levels that, or the more points you earn, the higher of levels that you go. And then we'll have some fun rewards and incentivization for people when they reach some of those top tiers. It's also a really good way for us to be able to identify our biggest champions, who's participating the most in the forum. Those people have deep expertise in Slack or are on their way to or are passionate about Slack. So it just gives us a more of a cue around people that we can talk to for community stories. And we're going to continue to add into this program as well. And the next thing that I'll talk about is the Slack Community Forum Companion app. So members can interact from any workspace. They don't have to be in the Slack community workspace. That was one of the big important keys for us here, is that whether you want to search for something in the community from your workspace, or you were in a community workspace or a social workspace, or in the Slack community workspace, being able to access information through the app. So here we can see a logged in user. They can see the 10 most recent posts for the followed topics or activity that they have just by clicking a little button in the app home. Anyone who is logged in or logged out can search the forum for answers to their questions. So they can also, they can see, like, if I am looking for digital HQ, I can find questions that I might have that are similar to things that I'm thinking about and view that directly in Slack. I can also reply directly from Slack, which is a pretty powerful thing. Members can also enable specific notification types to be received through Slack through messages from the app, including a notification when someone answers their question, gifts them a badge, or app mentions them in a post. And that's it for me. I'm going to turn it over to Imran.
Awesome. Thanks, Elizabeth. Before we get Imran to go into his part, just a quick polling question that probably popped up on your screen here. So just where are you in your digital transformation or experience cloud journey? It'll be nice to kind of hear what some of the viewers, where they're at. You guys a quick minute. All right, looks like a lot of you have Experience Cloud. That's great to hear. New attendee from Elizabeth's side.
He just loves to be on camera.
Yeah. All right, perfect. So it seems like most of you have Experience Cloud and are looking to expand, and one other person just looking to hear more examples and use cases. So yeah, I'll give it over to Imran to just introduce himself and go over, but hopefully you guys got some good ideas from Elizabeth's story and kind of the project that we worked on with them.
Awesome. Yeah, thanks, Elizabeth. Thanks, Saul. So just a quick intro of who I am. So my name is Imran Shatur. I'm the CRO of Groundswell. And Groundswell itself, were founded in 2012, have really been supporting all sorts of customers, all sorts of Salesforce customers through various forms of digital transformation. So I'm going to just kind of give a quick overview of who we are and then dive into some specifics here. What does Groundswell do? So I guess, first of all, in terms of our focus and experience, we do support a number of industry verticals, but specifically, I think for this particular example, I wanted to highlight our work in the communication services space and then in the SaaS space. And again, this all stems in technology more generally. just going on here, our experience really spans across Salesforce, and really what we become known for is implementing kind of cross-cloud implementations of Salesforce, Experience Cloud being kind of one of the main areas that we're known for just across the board. So we have developed pretty large-scale experiences, as kind of Elizabeth just went through in the Slack example. And then the other kind of quick part in terms of our customer base is we've really built a lot of domain knowledge of understanding how technology companies go to market. So whether that's premium use cases, whether that's recurring billing, whether that's looking at kind of, I guess, complex and unique customer support experiences or customer community experiences, as Elizabeth just mentioned, we do have a wealth of experience there that kind of expands across the industry. And then the last thing, just to call out here, high growth is kind of synonymous with technology. And so this high growth typically brings a number of, I'll call them issues within Salesforce environments. So whether that's dealing with historical complexity or technical debt, really what we've become known for is unblocking instances to really allow technology firms to start realizing that investment and innovate. So speaking of that, I wanted to kind of go through our journey with Slack, because it does kind of highlight or touch on a number of those themes I just mentioned. So first off, we started working with Slack in 2018, and there's already a lot of growth going on with Slack at the time. And the instance that Slack had just simply couldn't scale. There was a lot of issues going on, lots of debt, as I mentioned before. And so they're really looking for a partner to help them kind of get ready for this next leg of growth. So shortly thereafter, we started working on a migration of Slack Salesforce instance and moving them from Classic to Lightning. And then as well as doing that, really talked through the growth plans that Slack had. So, planning to go public, expanding around the world, wanted to get multiple sales teams. So we started working through, okay, how do we scale this instance and more broadly, this business process for that sort of growth? So shortly after Slack went public, the world was hit by a storm, as I think we're all kind of sort of still in now. So the work from home movement, I think, was maybe one reason. I think more generally, like, we've been an avid user of Slack internally here at Groundswell for some time. So it's an amazing product. And so I think both of those factors really kind of pushed forward the growth. And so we started working very, very closely with Slack through a number of different projects to help them kind of go through that scaling when it came to Salesforce and all of the related technologies that are tied in there. And then finally, moving into this year and into next year, Experience Cloud, of course, has been a big project this year. We started, I think, in March or April of this year. Went live, relatively recently, but we've been live for a little bit of time now, and we're continuing to look at future iteration as that platform continues to expand. And then again, into next year, I think there's lots more opportunity for us to work together. We've been partnered for so long, and we're really looking forward to kind of this new venture that Slack's on now, being part of the Salesforce ecosystem. So on that last point, what I wanted to do is just kind of give you our point of view on Experience Cloud, because it's a part of a broader family, and I think it's important to kind of lay out the context here for everyone. So the first part is Salesforce at its core, when you kind of think about Experience Cloud, underneath the hood of that, you have the platform, and that platform may be kind of core platform licenses. It could be Service Cloud, or it could be Sales Cloud, but effectively underneath, underpinning the Experience Cloud itself, you have this platform. Now within that, you have the ability to access APIs, there's packages, so on and so forth, and data needs to flow into that platform. Now it may already exist, and in a lot of cases, it's kind of created there. In other circumstances, there's integration involved. And of course, MuleSoft and a myriad of other platforms can help move data into Salesforce for exposure in the Experience Cloud, which I'll talk about here in a moment. Now, the Experience Cloud itself, kind of at the high level here at the top of this diagram, there's kind of two mechanisms for entry. One would be via a mobile app. So Salesforce does have a technology called Mobile Publisher, which effectively wraps the Experience Cloud and allows it to be accessed via the Google Play Store or the Apple App Store, or it can be logged in via a web application. And so both of those avenues exist. And then underpinning this, kind of below here, what we do a lot of the time, Saul, if you can just go forward one slide, perfect. What we do a lot of the time is there is a series of integration that may occur within the Experience Cloud itself. So whether that's redirects from other applications or doing single sign-on, whether that's creating kind of custom containers or components to go ahead and showcase that data that's held in other systems, or showcase that data that's held within Salesforce. And then to kind of wrap this kind of together, the work that we've done with Slack here via that Slack app that we've built, that is one option that is certainly available and is something that we have seen a lot of propensity and a lot of activity around. So that's kind of one area that could be brought into the equation here, as you've kind of seen in the example. And then the other side is there's a whole bunch of different capabilities that exist with Salesforce. And all of these capabilities can be kind of brought into the Experience Cloud itself. So if you have, say, a franchisee model and you need field service, if you want to allow Experience Cloud users to see more robust analytics, if you wanted to do something like distributed marketing, all of those things can be added into the Experience Cloud puzzle and again, be accessible externally to your customers or partners. So all this said, really where Groundswell has been engaged is across a number of implementations of Experience Cloud. We've built all sorts of things. So customer service communities is of course a big one. Partner communities, we've done a lot of work there. Internal employee communities, we've done a lot of work there. And then finally, I think the thing that kind of maybe makes us a little bit different is we have built a series of applications on Salesforce products. And those applications are consumer applications. So these are active apps that can be downloaded from the app stores, as I mentioned before, and they're serving more as a consumer tool that see millions of users using them every month. So operating at scale and also operating with business complexity is certainly what we're known for. So before I turn it over to Matt, I just wanted to kind of summarize a little bit for next steps. So we are more than happy to speak to anybody about looking at your instance, and we're more than happy to do a complimentary assessment of what you have going on in Salesforce. I'm happy to talk specifically about Experience Cloud as well. So we'll reach out kind of post today's session and happy to have those conversations. So I will turn it over to Matt, who's going to go more into the details on the Salesforce roadmap and just speak more about the future.
Thanks, Imran.
Man, those were some gems from Imran and Elizabeth right there. I think before I start getting going, a lot of us are here because, we already have it and we're looking for opportunities to make it better. I think Elizabeth and kind of how she worked with Groundswell, great example of how getting leadership, getting stakeholders involved early and often about how you want to change and transform this digital experience, no matter what type it is that you're trying to solve for. My name is Matt. I've been at Salesforce for about 8 years in a whole bunch of different roles. For the last 6 or so years, I've been working in the artist formerly known as Community Cloud, which is called Experience Cloud these days. And I think since in the spirit of trying to, definitely help everybody on this call out. Saul, can you go to the next slide? I wanted to call out some specific pointers that I often run into with customers that are at the point of, I think we got something, we've started to use Experience Cloud, either it's not working as we thought it would, or it's working fine, we're just looking on to take on new personas or different use cases. And I think this should, no matter what type, right? Elizabeth, at the use case over at Slack is for what we would call, a traditional forum, right? They're doing a lot more things with it, with the companion app, which is awesome. But all of these building blocks that you're looking at right here could be used for, a microsite, a customer portal, a partner, a PRM. So what you have kind of as your building blocks, if you haven't been in kind of the back end, is you have this WYSIWYG website builder. A lot of what Slack has done on their forum is drag and drop. So I think this is very important to kind of know what you have available when going and building and collecting requirements, because a lot of the things are out of the box and are very easy to do or to iterate on top of as use cases come up. Another one, which is my favorite, and I often find customers not taking advantage of this. This is something that's been out in the wild for maybe 3 years now, is audience targeting and page variations. Think of it, as the Amazon experience, right? We expect to be, brought with, no matter what website we're on, with a personalized experience, right? We want to be able to do that while using Experience Cloud as well. So no matter what type of persona accessing the same site that you have, you can give them different examples, right? Maybe you want to give somebody that is onboarding a different homepage than, you know, a forum user that is an MVP, and we want to seek use cases or feedback from these people. That I would say is the top item that I see customers not utilizing enough when looking at, you know, trying to make it better, no matter what use case. Additionally, CMS. So a lot of folks using CMS or using Experience Cloud don't really know that they have access to Salesforce CMS. So what CMS means, content management solution. You can create blogs, banners, videos. Just to think of it as a way to enable business users to, you know, house said community or forum or portal with a lot of interesting content. You know, give those business users in support, marketing, access to make your job easier as potentially the stakeholder of Experience Cloud, of being able to update and make it your own and personalize it. CMS comes with Salesforce orgs. It's one of the few freemium products that we have. So if you have Experience Cloud looking to get more value, I talked about page variation. Another one to make more of a richer experience is to start taking full advantage of Salesforce CMS. And now let's talk about some big themes that you can look forward to if you haven't necessarily taken advantage of them yet, of things that are coming or have come very recently to the roadmap, right? There's kind of three big themes that we're looking to solve for, or that we have solved for. First, you know, experiences for every moment. Slack's forum has already started highlighting the integration between Experience Cloud and Slack and the possibilities you have there, right? I think the interconnected, you know, multi-channel experience that Slack is using to really kind of meet their customers wherever they are, with the forum of having it, you know, SEO searchable online, people can discover it, but also giving them an option of, you know, accessing it through Slack and getting their questions solved there is a great example of how Slack can be used. If you're using, I just plugged CMS, you can also receive notifications, alert, publishing information via Slack from CMS. We're putting a lot of investment into our mobile experience. Of course, right? Everyone kind of knows that your customers are more and more likely to be logging in through a mobile device. Experience Cloud by nature is mobile responsive, meaning, right, if somebody just goes onto their phone and goes to a browser, everything's going to render and be responsive there. We're also putting a lot of investment into tools you can use for mobile publisher. So mobile publisher is the ability to wrap your Experience Cloud and put it into, like Imran was saying, put it into the Apple Play or iOS stores. From there, we're having a lot of great momentum on a roadmap for being able to, in tandem, using Marketing Cloud for push notifications, geolocation, QR reader, to name a few. And we want to make, you know, we want to keep building out on our apps. So no matter what industry you are in, we're coming out with a lot of great templates in attempt to solve for more unique kind of out of the box experiences that you can, you know, go to market with easier. So what you know, Matt, this is all great. You've been, you know, everyone's been talking for a while. How can we start kind of thinking about you know, what actions first from, you know, Salesforce we can offer you to help get going and start making some of these things happen? We have these expert coaching sessions available to our customers that often go great as a kind of in tandem, working with an SI with Groundswell, or depending on if they're kind of just one-off projects or kind of adoption or optimization measures you're looking to solve for, they just work whenever that issue comes up. There's quite a few of these ones for Experience Cloud. In a previous life here at Salesforce, I used to be an expert coach doing this and did about 500 of them. And customers they were great for customers that maybe had some Experience Cloud licenses on the bench and didn't really know what to do. It could be we have some new use cases or some new personas we want to introduce to our portal that already exists, and kind of how we go about attacking it. Can it be done with out of the box features? How can we conceptualize and figure out the level of effort? I think there's a lot of great options here. And sometimes you need to look at things more holistically, that there are things like data quality reviews, just org health assessments as well that work great in tandem with a specific Experience Cloud coaching session. Yeah, but we often see the most successful customers will utilize these CSG resources alongside with partnering with a great SI. So we hope, before we'll get to questions, I hope we got some questions teed up. But before that, we have a quick poll question, if we can bother you with that. Before we get in that, and while you're filling that out, feel free to start ruminating on some specific questions, some thoughts you had on today's session.
Awesome. Thanks, Matt. All right, we'll let you guys have some time to answer these questions, and then we'll open up for a Q&A, live Q&A as well, if you have any questions for the speakers. All right. So I know there's about 5 of you guys on right now. Yeah, I was gonna open it up, see if you guys have any questions for the speakers, any specific questions about either the implementation or Experience Cloud, or just about implementation in general. We're happy to answer. Not all at once.
Yeah, hi everyone. My name is Rigo. I have a quick question. Specifically through Slack, that's like an individual platform, like one singular product to be able to tailor to. But when it comes to like a product suite or multiple products in one org, I'm curious to know like how that how that makeup would come to, like specifically now I've used what you've mentioned, Matt, using audience trackers, using different facets that already are part of the Experience Cloud platform. But I've noticed sometimes there's still some discrepancies or just ways, it's not always maybe tailored specifically to how maybe I would want to show a customer like that specific site. So I'm curious to know like if there's like or adjustments to like components, like is there a roadmap on like what components are coming, or like differences in custom objects that are also being created? I know that was like a really long-winded question, but yeah.
I get it, Rigo. Yeah. I'll attempt, just feel free to stay on the line while I go through this question. But yeah, I would say first, I guess kind of rationalizing how you want to use audience targeting and page variations. So you can use, I've seen customers use anywhere, most customers will use a handful, maybe 3 to 5 page variations, and audience targeting just on home pages is usually kind of the training wheels for using it.
Mm-hmm.
And then I see kind of very successful ones using up to 100, and moving on from just targeting pages to targeting components. And once a component exists, even if it's a standard component or a custom component that you've created, either just an Aura-based or Lightning Web Runtime component, those can all be customized as well.
Yeah.
So I guess that's kind of one bit of it. Additionally, we have new templates coming out that are Lightning Web Runtime template. It's available. with that one, you can use Salesforce's Interaction Studio. It's a marketing cloud tool, which allows you to be very specific on even unauthenticated, folks that you don't know who they are, to be very specific of what you're going to be showing them without the need for creating criteria-based audiences. So that's kind of the next level that's coming on the roadmap. I think it's in beta right now.
Okay.
I would keep an eye out for that. But generally, I would take this back to kind of the more soft skills of a community, of really kind of working with, stakeholders. If the audience targeting goal is to achieve upsell, cross-sell, or if it's to solve support faster, kind of really working with your stakeholders to find kind of the most bang for your buck, because I see most customers are able to solve it through what you have today.
Awesome. Thank you.
Yep.
Awesome. Thanks, Rigo. Any other questions from the audience?
I have a quick question.
Yep.
I went out on Slack's Help Center, and are there future plans to integrate like the community aspect into your Help Center? So when you do one search, you get everything back, knowledge articles and community?
Amy, federated search is my dream. So that's one of the next
Gotcha.
big projects that we're working on. We're actually scoping that out with Groundswell to not just from the Help Center, but also bring in results from our blog, from our resources page, from our API documentation, and being able to tie it in so that search and within community brings you not just the community answers, but also all of the other places that you can get that education. So definitely on the roadmap, and scoping out the kind of breadth of work that it will take to get there now.
Awesome. Thank you.
The importance of building for scale.
Yes, we all
Amy.
dream of federated search.
Additionally to that, kind of a new a feature that is coming, I think, next release, is that rich text components, HTML components, kind of, you'd think of them as kind of static things within Experience, were not searchable by any search, right? Federated or just the standard search, those are now going to be searchable. So I think that's big. Customers have been asking about that for years.
Fantastic.
Awesome. Great question. Any others from the audience? Okay, I think that's it. Well, thank you all for joining today. We will also send out a recording in case you want to re-reference something, and us here at Groundswell will follow up with everyone that joined today. But otherwise, thanks for joining, and I guess I'll give you guys back 5 minutes of your day. And thank you to all the speakers as well for spending the time with us.
Thanks, friends. Bye-bye.
Thanks, everybody.
Thanks, everyone.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye.